is the Sport Fishing Championship.
And you're watching live on SportFishingChampionship.com, the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. We are wrapping things up on this final day. Takeoff, as well as return from Grand Isle and Venice, Louisiana.
And there's been some big moves in the leaderboard.
Yes, it has. Peter Miller, I'm Robbie Floyd, and again, the biggest, the baddest billfish out there, the blue marlin. That was the fish of the day. We had some close calls, like right here. I mean, if that fish gets away, you're going to lose 350 points. That was not the case for this team, but a beautiful blue marlin. And put that in the tally books and get ready to try and maybe win a championship and set the sails for the first place prize at 3,500 points. But taking a look at the catch alerts and how they lined up at 925 Breathe Easy with the yellowfin tuna, again part of our championship fish category. Craw Gator, they got a mahi-mahi. And we also have Moncherie released their 5th blue marlin. That was all this morning at 7:57. Our invisible boats, yellowfin tuna, another species to look for. And here it is, the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic overall points as it stands right now. Moncherie is just ahead of Breathe Easy. And Breathe Easy had been there for most of the day, almost all 3 days. They were our first catch. And Peter, it doesn't look like it right now. That's the case.
That's right. Moncherie made a big move. They were down for the entire tournament, and all of a sudden they jumped to first place, and they're leading by 250 points.
And you see a variety of blue marlin, one white marlin being caught by Craw Gator. A little less points. Again, the white marlin will give you 125 points instead of the 350, but again, several blue marlin being caught. And as far as the playing field is concerned, you look at the ups and downs, the contours, the hills, the dales, the valleys, the extreme depths, up to what, 19,000 feet? I don't think anybody's going that deep. But again, you've got a big area to choose from.
That's right. You've got a 200-mile radius that a lot of the boats are fishing, but they can go as far as 400 miles offshore. But that's not necessary. If you find the fish close, you got to stick with what you know and what you're doing. And they have the contour lines and the temperature changes, and then you're finding big swarms of bait, and that's where you want to focus.
The boats are coming back to the locations as we speak, and these are all trying to run in towards either Grand Isle or Venice. Again, it's the first stop for the Sport Fishing Championship, the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. Easy for me to say on this third and final day. Peter, I'm Robbie, and they've been battling it out the entire time. Everything seems to be done now. We'll get to talk to Matt Klosterman with the SFC in a bit and find out exactly how things are done on the official side of things. But again, everything is officially unofficial, but we saw some movement on this final day.
We sure did, Robbie. And the nice thing about this is that these guys stayed out for days, multiple days, so they fished all day, and at night they fished for tuna, maybe swordfish, and they were cooked out. It's an incredible event, and these guys have a lot of quality time. They get to kind of chill out at night, yet they're still fishing, so it's a lot of fun, a lot of big fish, good times.
Yeah, and we started things off on Wednesday with the Sky Elements drone show, so it's a party before, it's business in the middle, and then it's going to be a party after. I promise you, somebody's going to be celebrating tonight. But it was really cool. And again, thank you, Louisiana. This place had been devastated along this stretch with Hurricane Ida just last year. But the drone show by Sky Elements, amazing.
I've never seen anything quite like this. I mean, these are actual drones flying in unison in the air, depicting these beautiful images. And this marlin, when it pops up on screen, I think the entire city probably went nuts. Look at that. That's a 2 million pound marlin right there floating over their heads at the marina. And again, that doesn't get you dreaming. I don't know what does.
I know, that's very cool. And the locals had to be looking up going, oh my Lord, Carl, did you see what was up in the air?
Oh my Lanta.
Did you see this marlin coming at me? And again, I'd like to thank the SFC for representing here at Hurricane Hole. That was the venue for that. Also, Cypress Cove, thank you very much for being a great host over in Venice. Again, you take off from 2 different spots, but it's all about having a good time on the Sport Fishing Championship. And we amalgamate all of these big tournaments from around North America and some international waters as well. 11 in total, but we kicked it off on Thursday morning. And again, both of those venues taking off at the same time, heading out into the tournament waters.
And there were a bunch of boats, and they had the band here playing. They had a lot of hoopla and hype. It was very, very exciting. Lots of guys doing their preparation. You see them filling the bladder tanks. Everyone's rigging baits. There's a lot of activity at the dock there.
And that's fuel they're putting on there, right? I mean, you know, if it's a wakeboard boat, we're adding water. But for those guys, they need that extra fuel to get out where they're going.
That's right. And fuel ain't cheap, my friend, right now.
No, it's not. That was a lot of money.
They spare no expense on these tournaments to get out there and catch those fish because the passion is real.
Oh, you got it. You said it exactly right, and that's a play on words. And you could see just how much fun everybody was having online. The prep, doing the final last-minute stuff because, again, it's time to re-spool. It's time to tie those knots because when they hit the water, it's game time. It's not fun time like they had the night before.
Oh, yeah. They're kind of all, they're healing on their way out there from the night before because I'm sure there was a couple cocktails thrown down, and then they all fire it up and they head offshore, and they're looking for that beautiful purple water.
And again, taking off from two different venues, from Venice as well as Grand Isle. And we had 8 cameramen on these individual boats and trying to give you the live scoop going out. These were live shots just 2 days ago. And as we progress, we're going to try bringing you more and more live stuff. Instead of having to bring it back and forth, Invincible Boats doing a great job covering thousands of miles, bringing us back the stuff midday and sometimes at night.
And those Invincibles are powered with quad Mercury engines. They're going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour to bring the cards back to the dock for this particular event.
Yeah, they're getting after it, no doubt about that. And day one, it started off pretty hot. Team Bandito, and again, we're kind of showing you the general area that they were in. It looks like they were taking off out of Venice, but Bandito, they got the first hookup of the year. And again, the first Blue Marlin gets you 450 points instead of 350. So that 100-point bonus was going to play a big factor. And let's find out how the first hookup of the SFC went.
He's on this side! He's on! He's right behind you!
All right, hold on. I see, we see him in blue. It's a blue, it's a blue.
So they're spotting that Blue Marlin. They've identified, they know what they're going for.
And that Blue Marlin's charging through the spread right now, trying to attack everything it sees.
Bring the short in some.
They say there's a short and there's a long, different varying lengths of the line out.
Yep, right and left side, and then we got double teasers. There's a lot of things in the water right there, and that Blue Marlin's going wild on it.
Let him eat.
Right behind the boat!
These Marlin don't give up. They'll go from side to side to side. They'll stay there for 5-10 minutes sometimes.
And you might think that this boat's hauling. It is going pretty darn fast, but that Marlin can go way faster.
Yeah, they're going about 8 knots right now. And
What's that, miles per hour?
Well, for you, Robbie, they're going about 9 miles per hour.
Hey, I'm going to hit you with kilograms and meters here after this is all over with. We're going to make it hard. We're going to make it really hard.
Kilograms.
Yeah.
There he is, right there on the shore! No! What do y'all want?
In this boat of 2000, Jim Smith, 65 foot in length, the big boy.
He's right on the shore! He's on the shore! Don't reel it! Leave it!
Captain Chad Solomon
He's gonna get it, Corky!
He's
spitting
eating
out that
it.
information up
He's
top.
eating it now.
This is controlled chaos.
I think Mike Collins, Alex Diaz, Shane O'Neill, Corky Thomas, Bobby Wade, all on board.
He's on the shore.
Get her tried, Corky, get ready!
Why are we not feeding line bait back to him, or bait back to him?
Corky getting a shot out there.
See, Tucker?
We lost him. He's still there. He's on the. He's out. He's on the left rigger. He's on it. He's on.
So once again, another strike, and this is go time. They'll
He's
go
not on now. He's not on. He's still on.
from the holder to the chair.
Exactly. One
He's on the long.
move. You got one pass in this tournament.
All right, he's on. Let's clear. All right, clear.
There's the preparation to get in the
He's
chair.
on.
They're reeling in those teasers, trying to get everything else out of the way. Crank it up. When you're cranking that hard, it's something either really good or really bad.
Probably coming straight at the boat, just shaking that hook out.
You're praying he's still hooked up and coming towards, and you're trying to just make up that ground, but you see the rod tip. I don't see any flex.
Come on, guys. We gotta do
And
better.
unfortunately, that would be the end of their options for the next 2 days of this tournament. Bandito first to hook up, first to lose a blue marlin, and that would not pay off and be the first blue marlin of the tournament. So the success of the hookup and the unfortunate escape. But that's the job of the fish. I mean, once he knows he's caught, he's doing everything he can to get rid of it.
And those guys did everything right. They just didn't hook up. I mean, they just didn't complete.
Let's go on site with Site 1. Matt Klosterman, the tournament official with the Sport Fishing Championship. Matty, good to have you back. I see you got that earpiece dialed in now earlier. I had to give you a hard time when we were texting back and forth, but the guys are starting to come back in. The excitement looks for real as well. Maybe Matt can hear. Maybe Matt can't hear us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got these earpieces, and in fact, I got 2 of them, Robbie, in case one of them falls out. But yeah, we're expecting the boats to get back here in the next few hours. So yeah, I can hear y'all. So we're looking forward to getting these boats in here to the weigh-in. What will happen is we're going to get Mr. Robbie Carter, who's with the Louisiana tournament, to verify these catches. We'll do that when the boats get in with their videos. He'll review them. He'll verify that everything's good. He'll get them the points, and then those points will flow to our system in the SFC. So again, just looking forward to getting these boats in here and getting some fish weighed in. Some of the boats have some tremendous fish on board from what we're told, so we're really excited about getting them in here.
And again, Matty, this is a first stop of 11 for the Sport Fishing Championship. You're the guy that kind of brings everybody together from tournament stop to tournament stop, whether it be Gulf or Atlantic or international for that matter. What are the differences between some of these tournaments, and how do you make those adjustments? How do you identify things?
Well, we study those rules before the tournaments start, but Robbie, you're right. All these tournaments have different rules. They have different start times. They have different end times. Some of them have lay days. The requirements for the videos are different, so we study those, we keep up with them, and we leave a lot of that up to the individual tournament directors. But again, we're on top of it and working to flow those rules back through our SFC. So we definitely have our work cut out for us, but that's what we're here for.
You're doing an amazing job, and we appreciate what you guys are doing out there and feeding us the information here. And it's a symbiotic relationship, if you will, and we're loving every second of it.
How do you pick how do you pick an individual tournament? What would be your favorite? Maybe Texas. It seems like you have a good relationship with that one as well. I think it started in 1933. I'm from Texas, but would that have to be your favorite?
I think that's a weighted question, Robbie. So yes, absolutely. Personal favorite, the Texas International Fishing Tournament, my home tournament where I learned to cut my teeth. So I'm definitely going with the TIFF tournament.
I had to mess with him on that one. Hey, Matty, I appreciate everything you've been doing there, and keep it up, bud. Dominican Republic. Actually, you better start packing up. It's only in a couple of days. You better get ready, bud. Thank you, bud. Again, Matt Klosterman, I had to hit him with that because he told me it's South Padre Island. We've been doing it a while. That's my guy. I'm from Texas. I had to go ahead and hit him with it right off the bat. And you can see he's going to be nice and calm by the end of all of these events, isn't he?
That's possible.
You can see it. There's a chance. Hey, we're going to take a break here in just a second, show you what happened on day 2. That's when they really started catching them. Breathe easy. They take the early lead. Our first blue marlin of the tournament. We've got plenty of catches for you here on SportFishingChampionship.com.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Salt Life, Sea Home Watches, Smith Optics, and by the Louisiana Office of Tourism.
It's the final day of the inaugural sport fishing extravaganza known as SFC, part of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, partnering up with the biggest tournaments from around the country and international waters as well. And we're going to crown one unified champion, the sport fishing champion in Puerto Rico in a few months' time. Everybody trying to catch those blue marlin and get max points here in Venice and Grand Isle. Team Rising Sun, one of our teams that had the camera boats or had cameras on their boats, and they're doing something, Peter, that you're very familiar with. And if you're an offshore fisherman, you know this particular thing is very key to catching these fish.
I'll tell you what, it's a double-edged sword, but you want to get in those weed lines and see what you can do. That's a massive, what I call a clumposaurus. When you go through those weed lines, you're going to find a lot of shrimp and crabs up in there, and the little bait fish are going to be eating, and then you're going to have bait fish seeking cover under these giant weed mats, if you will. And the marlin are going to go through there, and the tunas are going to go through there, be looking for food. And that is a perfect conveyor belt for them to get exactly what they want.
What did you say? It's a food conveyor belt? How did you say it to me earlier? You said it was I don't know what you said.
It's a conveyor belt. It's a highway. It's a super highway.
You're exactly right. For the bait fish, where we have those oil rigs out there, and Rising Suns, pretty much everybody was trying to catch bait around those rigs. That would be more considered like structure. I mean, they're locked down there, whether it be a floating structure or a locked down structure. But when you're seeing that moving seaweed, it's a little bit different. Rising Suns yesterday, they were hooked up trying to get that blue marlin in the boat.
Got him.
Right here.
That fish is big. It's barely getting out of the water. Very calm, very cool.
And you could force, or you could try to force a big fish like that in, but I mean, the fish controls its own destiny at that point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you upset it. If you don't bring it in nice and smoothly, it'll want to run on you. And now you're trying to make up ground once again. And the captain's having to work to try and do stuff as well.
Yeah, you got to pick your moments when it's time to go after the fish. And he'll say, all right, guys, we're going back on him. I know you're going to be able to reach the leader. If I get back, another 50 feet, you reach out and touch it, it counts as a catch. And that's what they're looking for. Or, of course, if the rod, if the swivel hits the rod tip, that's also a catch. Either or.
Rising sun with one blue marlin. And this was yesterday. Hail out of Orange Beach, Alabama, 1998 Viking, 58-footer.
Hold up 2 fingers, somebody.
At this particular point, already hands on that leader, just trying to release that billfish.
Again, staying low, letting go of that leader because he knew he had to let go. He was right at the swivel. He couldn't take any more wraps at that moment. He kind of bent over the edge there, bent over the gunnel.
Got Pip, Kobe, Jimmy, Edward, Daniel, Jason, Ross, John, TJ. They had a full boat.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's kind of holding their breath here, they got the fish, they got the release already, but now they want to, they want to get a better look at it, try to get a little GoPro if they can, but it's already official release.
Again, whether it's a GoPro, a Garmin Verb, or any kind of personal camera, they have to stay in continuous contact with that catch. Can't have a break in time code or anything else like that for it to be considered a legal catch. Not talking about just what they're doing with the line, but they have to have visual video as evidence the entire time.
That's right, and that's exactly what they're doing right here on that big fish. I like the way he's hanging on inside the bait well up underneath.
You also liked his attire, too. I know you're the fashionista.
Oh, those bibs. I'm going to have to get me a pair of those.
They're not full length. They're not pants. They're not shorts. They're kind of like shants.
All right, bring the camera over here.
Woo! Good job, dog.
You got the job, yes.
I'll tell you this, I'd be having my Smith Optics on a lanyard. The way he had them things, his glasses hanging off the side there. And sure enough, he does. I mean, these are pros.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a run by our teams again. Out there for 3 days, unlike other competitions, and you heard Matt say earlier how, they'll come in and out. But these guys, they stayed out since Thursday.
This is not for the faint of heart.
And talking about the duration that they're out, well, what do you do if it's daytime? Well, you're trying to catch marlin. What do you do when it's nighttime? Do you catch marlin as well, or do you kind of move on to different species?
It's possible to catch marlin at night. We have done that. We've been successful at that, not trying for them. Usually you're sword fishing or trying for tuna at night in the lights.
So a bigger crew helps you? Maybe half the crew sleeps this time, the other crew work on catching these. Maybe it's a yellowfin tuna, invincible yellowfin tuna, other things that are living around these rigs, because something's biting. I mean, they love eating at night as well, some of these smaller fish.
That's right. There's always somebody that's going to be up trying to get that extra bait out there.
In Rising Suns, looking at them, catching one of our championship fish. I believe this was the yellowfin tuna. I think might be a qualifier. And in our championship fish competition, we have the wahoo, the yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats, as well as the mahi-mahi. If you have the biggest of any of those three, you will be crowned our victor from here. But also, that biggest fish will compare to the other big fishes from all of our 11 stops. And the biggest of them all in those three categories will win $50,000 from each category.
And that's nothing to sneeze at. So you want to target these fish when you can. And nighttime is the right time.
And it's still a fight. This is a struggle. It might not be 300, 400, 500 pounds, but again, it could be a couple of 100 pounds. But these are very strong fish as well. The yellowfin tuna, big. I mean, it is big as you are and much bigger at times.
They grow to about 460, 470 pounds over in Mexico. And I've caught them over, 200 here in Louisiana. They got big fish here.
Invincible Boats Yellowfin Tuna, that's a qualifier there. Day 2, Craw Gator. We saw them get on the board. They were doing, I don't know what all they were doing, to be honest with you, and we'll find out as they bring in more information. We'll do an update this week as well about our final standings. That's a little bit different. You haven't seen anything quite like that, but the species they were catching, they caught 3 different species in the first 2 days.
That's right. They were working some weed lines. You could see the weed right there, and they were fishing a plentiful area, and they were catching a variety. So they got a blue, a white, and a mahi. So they're covering a good area. A lot of activity there.
At 61-foot Viking, 7 different anglers on board. Again, that's in addition to the other crew members, a blue marlin, a white marlin, and I believe they catch a mahi later on. But this was day 2. They did that on day 3. But right here is that marlin catch.
There's nothing better than seeing those marlin explode in that calm water.
And this was around midday, I think around noontime or so. And then they would catch white marlin shortly thereafter, it seems like.
Yeah.
And the white marlin only giving you 125 points compared to the 350 for the blue.
Well, the blue is the needle in the haystack. The blue is the one you want, you know, and the whites are not as prevalent here in this area. So focus on the blue marlin. That's what they're doing.
All right. Hey, turn.
You know, some people might question, well, if they don't have to have lines in or out, they just have to be back at the dock by 6 o'clock for these guys. So they fish literally all the way up till then, whether it be I'm way out there trying to catch my blue marlin. Maybe I can come inshore and there happens to be another weed line. What am I going to do? I'm going to maybe try and catch a mahi-mahi or something like that. Try and get some extra coin before I come in.
Yeah.
Yep, you got to use strategy.
Somebody got a gaff?
And there's that lit tail on that marlin.
Oh, fuck. That's
completely lit up.
Come on, Donald. He's in there, baby.
Means that billfish is very excited at that time. It doesn't always look like that.
And you see the shoulders on it. It's got real nice shoulders. The kind of hump comes off the top of their head and builds up. And that's when they start to get that girth.
Just stay continuous on the video, and then we'll...
And you can hear them talking about staying continuous on that video. Now they've already had
leave them on for just a
second. And then there's the release. You see a little razor blade at the end.
Mate saver.
Come over here.
And that
Mate saver did his job.
Beautiful work by those guys.
Has a perfect release. Didn't take its time. Wasn't horsing it around.
Pretty
Just kind of let it do its own thing. You saw the marlin swim down.
That dog is farted.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations, Captain.
Good job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Bill. Yes, sir, Bill. Yes, sir.
Man, we cooking, cuz. We took the stink off the boat, bro. Now we gonna get the big mama. We just got a warm up right here. It's all good when you can catch one.
Sometimes you just gotta break the ice and get on the board.
Hey, I'd rather be lucky than good any day, cuz.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. It's a beautiful day. It's a great day on the water. We got a big old drill ship to ourselves. Lots of good camaraderie, good folks on the thing, and can't ask much better than this.
Awesome, man. Great job.
And it's not lucky. Sometimes you can be fortunate, but it's not luck. That's not it. You can be fortunate at times, not lucky.
Anybody can mow the lawn and come across a nice big fish and get lucky on a certain day, but it's the guys that do it day in and day out and then always in the top of the leaderboard. That shows their professionalism, their expertise, and their attention to detail.
Yeah, and Craw Gator, they did catch that white marlin after that, about 5 in the afternoon. They caught a mahi-mahi today. We might see that in a bit. We'll see more from the Sport Fishing Championship when we return right after this.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough, or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intra-nationally.
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Salt Life, Sea Home Watches, and by Smith Optics.
Cypress Cove in Venice, Louisiana, a tremendous host this week, as well as Grand Isle and Hurricane Hole. There's the new and improved Hurricane Hole. It's the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. The third and final day. They've got about an hour and a half to be back in. Again, they could possibly be fishing till the last second. Again, we'll update you on points as we see fit. If we get any catch and releases, we will tell you about that. But this facility, it is tremendous just how much it's turned around inside a past year. Totally devastated by Hurricane Ida in this area, whether it be Cypress Cove in Venice, Grand Isle, and Hurricane Hole. They both had it hard, and they're both built back better than ever.
We got to give big credits to Robbie Carter and Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, because they've done a phenomenal job.
Again, we travel all across the country and even into the Caribbean with the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Some great hosts we'll talk about throughout the season as we look at our Billfish leaderboard. Mon Cherie still sits atop. Breathe Easy. Breathe Easy got the first fish, but Mon Cherie's hoping to catch the last one, because if it stays that way and they have the last big blue marlin, they will probably win this thing. But look at the numbers of blue marlin. Look how many people have caught. One white with Craw Gator, but look at all the blues caught. That's more than last year.
If my math is correct, I think we have 25 marlin there.
I think only 18 last year, maybe 19, but I believe it was 18 was the number. And again, the SFC points, we give them a point value per fish, but we're trying to find a winner, because the winner will get 3,500 of our points that they'll carry on to the next stop and continue us on. Fog cutter, this is what it looked like on the water for them. Captain Kaz McKenzie hooked up with a good one. Again, everybody basing things off of these big platforms, rigs, and the seaweed lines.
Dropping back a big live bait right now.
Get that other line up. Get that on. I don't know what it is.
And right now they're questioning. They know something's there. Again, in the chair.
I don't know what it is. It ain't taking no line.
and reeling things in around it, whether it be a teaser, you want to entice that billfish, but sometimes that teaser, it can be your enemy as well, because you say as soon as if it ever wraps up into that bill, you're done.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Wow. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a blue marlin.
We're good. That was good.
Able to leap tall bait schools with a single bound.
Oh, you're getting them all today.
On the leader.
We're going to have to take you off the coffee. This was yesterday morning. You see the inter-ear communication with the captain, the other team members.
Headsets have changed the game in fishing. We started wearing them way back in 2003 or 5, and it changed the game. 30-knot winds, captain's in the tower. This is Peter. Hey, to the right, 30 feet. Boom, sailfish comes up and eats it instantly. Everyone's like, how'd you know how to do that? So you just whispered in my ear. Came to goosebumps.
You should know, I want to point out in case you
Pull it down.
haven't been following Bill Fish and are watching for the first time and logged on to sportfishingchampionship.com. Peter Miller's caught a billfish or two just like that one heading to the boat.
Yeah, I've got some footage of me ducking, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have actual footage of me actually taking cover.
And they able to release that fish at the last moment as it came on.
Right here, where you can see them nice and close. And hooked him, jumped on a leader, jumped all over.
Put on a good show.
Good show. Y'all will get a good show.
We love it when they do that, Peter.
These are the things I dream about. When I can't sleep at night, I imagine these moments, and it actually soothes me and puts me to sleep.
I call it a pucker factor, because out there at this distance, you're not near the leader. So at this point, you're saying that's money that could shake off. When it gets close, they make contact with that leader. Now you know you've got that fish. But the beautiful jumping motion, it's all good unless you don't get to that leader and it gets off and then it goes bad.
I'll tell you what they do. When the captain sees the fish jumping away, he'll pop it in reverse, a little push, just to throw a little slack in there. I'm not talking slack, just a little loosening of the tension. And that helps so much. And when he bumps forward, it's to take up the slack. So it's kind of, again, it's a ballet and it's a well-oiled machine. These guys know exactly what they're doing. They've done it a million times.
It's a give and a take. You don't want the slap because they may be able to spit the bit, if you will, but the same thing, if he drops it into gear and he plays that thing like a banjo string and it pops, you've lost the billfish either way. He's Peter Miller, I'm Robbie Floyd, but our other partners are on site with Site 1 on the coast of the Gulf. The Gulf of Mexico Queens, I like to call them. Captains, congratulations on that. I would never be captain, Peter, but the Gale Force Twins, welcome back to our show, and you're live in Hurricane Hole.
Ladies, tell us, what does the scene look like there at Hurricane Hole?
It's definitely getting much more lively. Now, there's no boats back yet, but there's people camping out at the end of the dock waiting to watch these boats come in. They have lawn chairs set up. There's music. The bar is busy. This is the busiest the marina has been since we've been here, so it's nice to see the change of pace.
Yeah, the championship fish, they will possibly, they will bring back the yellowfin tuna, the mahi, the wahoo. We've already had one boat, I believe, already returned to Venice, but that's the different part with it being at two different venues like this. Speaking of that, your next stop's going to be at Orange Beach. We have several teams from Orange Beach. Are you trying to get a couch and come in a couple days early and try and get the inside scoop for there?
That is correct. That's what we're hopefully trying to do. We're hoping to head to Alabama a day or two early, really hang out with the guys and the crew and talk to them and really learn about their strategy and the fishery out here. Like we were saying earlier, is that the Gulf fishery is new to us. We're used to Atlantic blue marlin fishing, which can look very different. So we're looking forward to coming in early, maybe even getting out doing some fishing ourselves.
Yeah, I think the goal is definitely to get some fishing in while we're out there.
Yeah, what do you think about all those the 25 billfish that were caught during this tournament? It's a pretty good catch, huh?
That's a great number, and we were actually, someone was asking us a question saying, there are boats that have been out there not catching any fish. Why do they come back? And I actually love that question because this is a long series. We have 11 tournaments. So just because you start the first one off maybe catching one blue, or maybe you don't catch any blues and you just catch some whites, this is a whole event. So you can't get down on one tournament if you maybe only caught a white or only caught one blue and you're not in first or second, because you have 11 or 10 more tournaments to really make a name for yourself, or if you really want to go for it in the Gulf division or the Atlantic division, whatever it is. It's the sport of fishing that keeps bringing people back, and maybe you were out there for 3 days, you saw one blue and missed the bite, and that alone makes people want to come back and say, I want to fish the next one and I want to land my blue.
I know you ladies are captains, and you try and just use your knowledge and you show people how to do things and stuff like that. What do you think you're going to pick up on this week that you can take back home and kind of break down a little bit better for your social media?
That's a great question. I definitely have to say that one thing we love to bring take to our viewers and take home to them is everything organic and natural and how things really are while we're out here. We don't like to sugarcoat anything, so if the fishing's not great, it's not great, or if it's amazing, it's amazing. And this has been a really awesome experience. We've been posting a lot on our social media pages for our viewers to be able to watch it and see what it's like in real time. And I think we're hoping for Orange Beach, we can come in a day or two early and bring our own cameras and film some of our own content for our YouTube channel where we produce educational fishing and boat handling videos. Maybe we can teach our viewers how to catch a blue marlin in the Gulf.
We look forward to seeing it. Ladies, thank you again. On site with Site 1, and they'll be back with us at Orange Beach. This is the third and final day in the Gulf of Mexico for this stop. Again, we will be next round, next weekend in the Dominican Republic. Team Badonkadonk. You see the thing, the contours, the general area that they were around. Flats, not necessarily that great all the time. You want some variation under there, but again, thermoclines, there's a lot of factors on what brings these guys and girls to this area.
You're not kidding, and if I recall, this fish is a dunk, which is a jumbo. We got a full-grown fish on the end of the line here.
Michelle bringing out the big guns, doesn't she? I mean, my shoulders, my traps, my lats, all those ats would be sore.
This is really a squatting type method. You know, you're basically squatting this fish. Right now she's taking up line, Captain's closing the gap, and she's doing a great job. And as always, her triceps showing, she's in great shape. She's pushing that rod handle down, and she's not pulling up on it because she's a pro. You don't pull when you're in the chair, when you're in a bucket like that. You squat it back and forth. And if the line breaks and your hand's there, you're going to stop the rod from hitting yourself in a forehead if the line breaks.
Well, she's got a monster on board. I mean, a blue marlin, no doubt, but look at how big that billfish is.
That is a chunky monkey. Wow.
And dancing.
And in that water, calm and massive, ripping it up.
We're not going to see it like this every stop. I mean, I'm going to probably get seasick watching these anglers out there, these competitors out there. You couldn't ask for a better weekend, could you?
I tell you what, it's incredible. My friend posted a video today, he tagged me in it, from 2012, and we were riding in 55 knot winds in the rain to our next spot, and we got outside. You're falling down the entire day while trying to kite fish. It was ridiculous. So this is gorgeous, absolutely phenomenal. It's badonkadonkish.
And just throwing that weight around, the power of the blue marlin. And you hear the engines trying to make those adjustments as well.
Spinning hard, turbos kicking in. Lit up, you can see the underside of the bill even lit.
That was badonkalicious.
Hard starboard if you can. Hard starboard if you can.
Wow.
Badonkalicious.
That was awesome, and we will see this team again for sure. Again, most of these teams, you have to fish 3 of our Gulf events to qualify in that Gulf division. Same thing will happen in the Atlantic.
It's a beautiful situation. We're piggybacking on top of these wonderful tournaments, and we're partnering with them.
No entry fee.
But he came right out, pinned me in the corner here, and got a little line burn. But yeah, he got underneath and broke off. But hey, had a show for a little while.
You said line burn there. What do you mean?
Line burned the fish as they leadered it. It went down into the prop area, and it kind of stretched out, so the fish came out the other side, so the line burned off on the prop or the shaft. But they already had the release.
Time to cut it off, retie, get ready to go again. Southern Charm, this was yesterday. You notice the number of anglers. They identify who the anglers will be on that boat. Again, they get the fish up to the boat. They can't just keep passing it on to one guy, another. What was it, an 18-year-old we had yesterday or last night, didn't know what they had on, and had a fish on for 20 hours.
20 hours, that's correct. But as you were saying, you definitely want to have everybody signed up as an angler that's in that cockpit, because if anybody touches the rod, they can DQ it in some tournaments. You want to have everybody signed up. There's no reason not to have everybody in that cockpit signed up as an angler, even the cameraman.
Well, not our cameraman, but their cameraman.
Yeah, their cameraman.
Move, Dale, move.
So the captain's telling him to move to get that fish off the other corner, because you never want to fish down the center in your prop wash. He had it off one corner, the fish was down the middle. He was saying, hey, kind of pull it off to the left side there.
Just get on out the way if you think you got good video.
Dale, if you think you got good video, then walk out the way a little bit. Get ready for it to roll up on the side.
And as that leader comes in, you can see the other guy bringing it in, kind of reeling it in behind him, because you don't want that leader laying on the deck, trying to getting caught in someone's foot or their arm or something, or even popping their hat off.
Then again, if that fish decides to take off, still hooked up underneath there, you're with it.
And he has to drop his hands and let the leader go. Yeah, I once had someone do that, and the line wrapped around the top of my hat and popped my hat off like an ejector seat.
Heads up, watch your step, watch your step.
Almost lost my toupee.
There he is. He's saying to watch your step. He's saying he knows.
Good job.
And they did just right. Yeah, when you were telling me that about hats, I'm like, hang on, there's more to this story than you're telling me initially. So, oh yeah. That man had a hat earlier, but he done lost it.
The Mad Hatter.
That's how you ride a marlin.
He rides a marlin.
Very nice. And not their only marlin of the tournament. We've got a lot of coverage this week. We'll bring more to you. This is a live shot of Rising Sun as they're starting to make their way in. Captain Jimmy Crochet hopefully bring in one of those championship fish as well. We know their total catch.
They've got a marlin under their belt.
Yes, they do. 350 points. Again, everything we say is officially unofficial.
350.
In the first stop of 11, let's take a look ahead with Smith Optics. We're in the Louisiana Gulf Coast. We move a lot further to the right if you're looking on that globe. The White Marlin Tournament in the Dominican Republic next weekend. They got to repack, restack. Some of these guys are going to be fishing that, but you see the G and the A. It can be considered a Gulf or Atlantic event. You don't get points for both, but if you're a Gulf guy, I want to go there. But are they going to probably make the run in these boats, Peter, or do you think they're going to do the rent-a-boat program?
Well, I wouldn't really call it rent-a-boat. It's more like you speak to your friends that have a sport fish down there that are adept at doing this sort of thing. That's who you want. This isn't a rent-a-boat.
I'm going to go find the finest equipment I can, but I'm set up. I'm going to hook a brother up, and he's going to help me out as well. What a week we've had so far.
Rent a Marlin.
Yes, absolutely. Woo. This is it. It's the first stop. We will crown a champion. We'll talk about it more. You can follow us on sportfishingchampionship.com for all the information. They still have about an hour, I think, left to fish if they want to. On behalf of Peter Miller, the Gale Force Twins, I'm Robbie Floyd. Thanks for joining us. We hope to be with you on sportfishingchampionship.com. More days ahead.